That is such a valuable piece of advice there.
These are the sorts of things that we should talk about right in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Started giving people free quotes.
Isn't sunshine and rainbows, and isn't, everyone sees you doing so well.
For just being a solo
The
operator.
change in mindset makes a massive difference.
Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
Greg, I've noticed over time your trailer's changed. And I think actually from a different trailer too, but I'm talking about what's in it. So one of the things I like to talk about is what contractors need to do work. And I think when you started business, you were probably pushing a mower a hell of a lot.
Oh yeah.
So,
I've gone from mowing to having 60 push mowing customers to now I've probably got about 14. I'm a lawn contractor that hates mowing lawns. I hate push mowing. It's hard work. I don't like push mowing. I don't like the whippersnapper. I don't like anything about it. And I've always wanted to get more into commercial work and into ride-on work more. I do a lot of hedges. I enjoy hedges. I don't. A lot of guys say that they don't like doing hedges, where it doesn't bother me, and that works in my favour because it's a specialised area of our business, and you can make some good money doing hedges.
Yeah, for sure. So over time, if we talk about some of the equipment you've used, I think, did you start with a Honda self-propelled?
I started out with a Honda 196.
196. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, back and I had that for 6 months.
No wonder you were known as the man with the body.
It nearly killed me, mate. I nearly died 3 times. It was so hard just pushing this bloody lawnmower, and I thought there's got to be an easier way. So then I upgraded to the Honda 216, the self-propelled, which I've still got to this day. I had a Honda whippersnapper, which is a heavy bloody...
I was going to say, I remember you telling everyone how good the Honda whippersnappers were.
Oh, look, it was yeah. I had the... What's the bigger motor? The
325?
I've had the GX35, which I still got now.
Yeah.
It's heavy, man. Heavy as hell. Very reliable, heavy as hell.
Yeah.
And it was reasonably powerful. Then I thought, well, there's got to be something easier than this. So I went to the Honda GX25, which was gutless and underpowered and still bloody heavy.
Yeah.
So then I've gone to the Still 94, which I've still got now. I love the Still 94 whippersnapper. I've had that for 4 years now, mate. I've flogged the guts out of it. It still goes like the day I brought it.
I've had several Still FS94Rs, and I love them too. But they're not without their problems. You find hot weather can really upset them when you're trying to start them in really hot weather.
Do you know what? I must be the only guy who doesn't have a problem starting it.
There you go.
I even made a video on how I think about starting my whippersnapper that I work backwards with. So I generally never... So I'll pull the whippersnapper off the trailer and I won't prime it. I won't choke it. I'll just pull it a couple of times, see if it goes. Then I'll prime it twice, pull it a couple of times. It might go. And then I'll then I'll choke it, and then it will go. I sort of...
Right.
The downfall of the whippersnapper is that they flood very easily, and people flood them before you've even got a chance to start it.
Yep. Yeah. So
I love the Still 94. I would buy one again tomorrow.
The Still 94 and the Husky 525 have been the backbone of our industry for a few years now.
I've heard a lot of people talk about the 525, mate. I've never had one, so I don't know. But I think they are the comparable light whippersnapper that is good for the groomed work. If you're doing jungle work, well, you need a different machine. But for the residential work, yes.
In 2018, I had a harebrained idea that I would try a battery-powered still. And I was unimpressed. And I was
I have used a battery powered Husqvarna whippersnapper. It was
Yeah.
very powerful. I was very impressed with the power of that.
Yeah. Well, the original still that I tried was the FSA 90, and I was unimpressed with it. And then I went and tried a Husky battery whippersnapper, and
Okay.
I ended up using a lot of Husky battery tools for quite a few years, which I still do. And
Yeah,
now I'm running some Ego battery tools as well. So,
okay.
yeah, I find now most of my whippersnipping is done with battery. I have a petrol, like an FS131, that I'll still bring out occasionally for the really heavy stuff. But most of the time, heavy stuff with the Ego line trimmer. The Husky still gets a good workout, and it's really lightweight. But yeah, most of my handheld tools now are battery instead of petrol. So
I love battery, Gary. I love battery. All of my hedging gear is all battery.
Yeah.
I think especially, I don't even know why they make petrol powered hedging gear anymore. It's just there has never been a time that I thought I wish I had a petrol powered hedger. And I do a hell of a lot of hedging, mate. Half of my business is hedges.
So are you using the Makita hedger?
So I've got three. So I always had this plan when I first started business that I just wanted one platform. Everyone just wants to work on one platform. That's the dream. So I brought thousands of dollars worth of Milwaukee equipment at the time.
Yeah.
The Milwaukee handheld hedger, like the smaller one, I don't even know what to call it. It was garbage. It was rubbish. And I was so disappointed with that. And so I sold that within 6 months. I kept the Milwaukee multi-tool, which is great. I have that with 2 extensions. I run the pole saw on that. I run the trimmer on that. That's been great. I've had that for 4 years now.
Yeah.
I use the Makita 18 volt smaller handheld machine. I've had that for 4 years. That's been great, mate. That is a powerful machine. I cannot believe that an 18 volt machine, like I use this like a chainsaw. It'll go through anything. If I keep hacking away at a branch, mate, it'll go through. Very rarely, very rarely will it stop, mate. It just goes through anything. The Makita make a great tool. They really do.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will agree with you on there. I haven't had a Makita hedger myself. I've used one, but I haven't owned one. So,
and I've got a Husqvarna dedicated pole trimmer, which I've actually been a bit disappointed with. It's a very well made machine. It never lets me down. It always goes, but it's a 36 volt machine.
Yeah.
You would think it would have a lot of power. I actually think it's underpowered.
I've had the Husqvarna short pole hedger myself, and I loved it, but not without its problems. But I thought it was an absolutely awesome machine. Now I'm running an Ego one instead, and I like the Ego. I think it's really good.
Yeah. I've never really used Ego. I had an Ego mower years ago when they first come out because I had a lot of stair work, and I was carrying this Ego mower like it was a briefcase up and down the stairs,
They're nice and light, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, mate, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, do I really want to do stair work? So in the end, I ditched all the stair work and I sold the mower. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So at some point you transitioned from pushing the HRU 216 or it dragging you along.
Yes.
And you started to try a couple of different zero turns or standards.
Yeah, so I've gone from 216. Then I went to the Toro Time Master 30-inch, and that was an absolute
Oh, yes.
game changer. Now I'm not dedicated to any brand or anything, please, but it changed my life. Because I was going from doing a lawn which would take me an hour to I was doing it in 40 minutes. I was saving hours every day just through this 30-inch lawnmower. It changed my business. It changed my business.
Awesome.
So I was really only getting the 216 out for jobs which were tight access, like the backyards. I couldn't get to the backyards. I rarely use my 216 these days. I use it maybe at 2 or 3 of my mowing clients just to get to their backyards. But every other one is with the
Time Master.
Toro 30, or I've even got some now that I do with my grandstand. So I've gone from I've always been trying to do things easier. So I've gone from a Time Master, which I still have, and I got a Skag 32. Are they
the V-Ride 32.
Yeah, the V-Ride 32. Beautiful machine. I was one of the first to get one.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful machine, and it certainly made my life easier. I wanted something to make so I wasn't doing so many steps every day. And it certainly done that, but it was such a bloody heavy machine on these residential lawns, and it wasn't necessarily saving me any time. It was just making my life a bit easier, And so I was sort of hurting lawns, leaving train lines. So I sort of sold the 32. But when I had the 32, I dropped a lot of clients because I just wanted to use the 32 all the time. And if I didn't have the correct access, I dropped them. So I dropped a heap of work just because they were shitty access. So in the end, when I sold the 32, I brought the Toro Grandstand 48. I found that I had all this great access and I could do it with the 48. So I do a lot of my residential work with the 48 Grandstand.
Efficiency is the thing that rules a business and the decisions you make as a small business owner. Right Mowers give you the options in their product lineup to match efficiency with size, fuel usage, and the type of jobs you want to target, from catching to mulching or side discharge, from roadside verges to acreages, and manicured lawns to 6 feet tall and super long. I've been using the Right Stander I 42-inch with a Catch Pro for manicured areas and the Stander ZK61 to maximise productivity for large open acreage mowing. If you need to replace your push mower, try the 32-inch Stander B. If you have more open access to residential properties, there's a 42 through to 48-inch option that suits you. And if you want to enter the acreage market, the 52, 61 and 72-inch machines have choices in engine size and model type to suit the work you want it to do. Right Standards go the distance, saving you time and money, season after season. I find this topic really interesting, and equipment is a fascinating topic regardless, but the right size machine for the right job makes a world of difference. And you're saying the difference between the 30-inch and 32-inch was
comparable. It was even faster when you're talking about a residential lawn. By the time you get the big mower off and mate, you could have it done with the 30. There was minimal time saving. Using the Stander to using the 30-inch push mower. It was only on the day that I'm at my cul-de-sac that I've got 8 houses in the cul-de-sac that I would save time, and that was just through me getting from job to job because I could drive around like a race car.
I find there's a real polarizing effect with the 32-inch machines where some people find them invaluable and indispensable. They couldn't do without it because it revolutionizes their business. Whereas other people, It's like, no, the 32, bought it, tried it. It could have ruined my business if I hung on to it and got rid of it.
Yeah,
quicker
well,
than I
and
went.
that's how it was for me. It was hurting some lawns. In
Yeah.
my opinion, the 32 is great for a large property that has terrible access.
Yes.
You know, that's where you're going to get benefit out of a large area that's got bad access.
So in my business, when I was doing a lot of residential work, I found the 42 was the best size for. I can fit it through most gates, so minimises the amount of times I need to get the 216 off the trailer,
Yeah.
and that allowed me to get really efficient use of a zero-turn mower. 42
Yeah.
inch, perfect.
Yeah.
Some people are like, no, 42 inch will never fit through any of my gates. So they go 32 or they go down to the Time Master. And yeah, it really does depend on what works for the type of customers that you have.
Yeah. Someone who's just got average size residential work, the standard mowers, they're just too heavy. They weigh half a ton with my fat ass on it. They're just too heavy for, and you only need a bit of rain. Even my Time Masters leaving train lines, it's
Yeah.
me walking with my feet. I'm sort of leaving
Footprints. Yeah.
footprints, they're just a beautiful machine, please.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, beautiful machine. Just bloody heavy.
This is why I say that it's really depends on the person, because what you're saying is an average residential yard. I'm going to say is a small residential yard. In my area, the average residential yard is the size of your yard, like 1,000 square meters or bigger.
Yeah.
But in the areas where you're working, it sounds like they're a lot smaller.
Oh, look, in Cherrybrook. So Cherrybrook it's not like the big quarter acre blocks, that's for sure. They were smaller. And I was doing a lot of maneuvering, as and you can
Yep.
you can only go around a yard so many ways, but before you're starting to do some damage, and
Yeah.
that's what was happening. That's what was happening.
I saw somebody just in the last couple of days asking for advice about leaving ruts in lawns when they're using a zero turn or a stand-on mower. And my advice, without thinking about it, was change directions or just move over one wheel width each time you mow so that you're not
Yeah.
making the same ruts in the same place. But
Yeah.
as you say, and I'm not doing the size yards you're doing, when it's a really small lawn, that's near impossible to do.
It's you can only do it so many times when you're there every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You can only, there's only so many ways that you can do it.
Yeah.
If you're just doing like they're perfect for jungle work. If you're doing jungles all the time, you're not going back doing repeat work. I'd have a 32 for sure, because you can just go in and you've got the power to do the jungle work. But for reoccurring work, it was just too heavy. Just too heavy.
Yeah. Fair enough. So you've found the 48 inch has been a brilliant machine for you.
I love it, man. I love it. So I accidentally, not accidentally, I was very fortunate that Clinton Hawkyard actually helped me out and pointed me in the direction of the grandstand because he had one.
Yeah.
And mate, it's been a great machine. The versatility of the machine, how it folds up at the back and it's got the little ute part at the front it's been a great machine. I've got nearly 400 hours on it. It's never let me down.
Yeah, Clinton's another person I've been chasing for an interview for a while. So, Clinton, if you're listening to this,
Clint's a good guy, mate. Clint is a good guy. Clint has helped me out a lot in my business. He's a good guy.
Yeah, well, there's a spot in the dungeon here just for him.
Now that I've been in the dungeon, this might have opened up some doors for some people to climb on in the dungeon and get spanked.
There's a couple of people that have said, "Oh, we'll do it when winter comes around," and then when winter comes around, "Oh, maybe next time."
No,
So,
I know.
we'll get him.
Yeah. Oh, look, mate, he's a good guy, and Clinton is one of the hardest workers that I know, mate.
Yeah.
Everything that he has, he's worked hard for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Greg, I think we've taken up a lot of your time. I'm very mindful of that. I want to let you spend some time with your family. But before we finish up, is there anything we haven't covered that we really should cover? Any piece of equipment that we should talk about because we're covering equipment right now, or any other topics that you're like, oh, we really.
You know what I want to say? The one thing that I've done since the beginning of my business is as soon as I make some money, I invest that money into my business through it either buying better equipment, buying something that I need. I've always invested in the early days of my business. I've invested into my business just through trailers, cars,
Yep.
equipment.
Yeah.
Invest some money in your business because that's what makes you money.
It's incredibly important to do that.
Yeah, oh mate, I've been big on that for the first 3-4 years of my business. I'm fortunate now that I have everything that
Yeah.
I need, but I spent a lot of money. A lot of my profit was just going back into the business
Yeah.
through and buying good equipment.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it. And look, do good work, do quality work, do make yourself. There's so much competition out there. Why would somebody choose me over you? You know, stand out from the crowd, do some good work, and
Yeah.
have people chase you rather than you chasing them.
Yeah. Incredibly good advice.
I've got some bad advice. I got plenty of bad advice. If you want bad advice as well.
Let that be for the after hours session.
Okay. But yeah, no,
Hey.
look, it's been good to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a long time since we've actually had a chat, and it's been
It
good
has.
to get you in the dungeon, get it smoking.
You know, I've got another 3 hours in me.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.